Good morning, a good Friday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lawrence, thanks for inviting me on. I love being with you, especially on these holy days.
Love having you on.
So think about it. You've been on after 9/11. You've been on through the pandemic almost every day after January, after the attacks.
October 7th.
October 7th. What stands out this year?
You know, here's the scoop about Good Friday. So you're right. So you often invite me on when there's tragedy, when there's difficulty, when there's trauma. Glad you do. Thank you. Trying to give some wisdom in that as God has revealed. But all the evil, all the suffering, all the setback, all the adversity, all the trauma, all the tragedy that has ever happened, is happening, and will happen, is summed up on Good Friday afternoon. Okay, that is like the towering effect of evil and sin and selfishness and hate. And for 3 hours, the Son of God suffered, and it's like he absorbed all the suffering, all the heartache, all the adversity in the world, and he took it to himself, and it died with him. Because why, you guys? Why? Because though Good Friday does not have the last word, Easter Sunday does. So winter doesn't have the last word, spring does. Just ask your weather people, okay? Death does not have the last word, life does. Darkness doesn't have the last word, light does. Heck, on that Good Friday, the sun went into eclipse. The earth trembled with an earthquake. So everything is just epitomized in that Traore, those 3 hours of our Lord on the cross, and yet it doesn't have the last word. I think what the Lord is telling us is, don't you dare ever say, God doesn't know what I'm going through in moments of tribulation. And we all have them. You report on it every morning, okay? Don't you dare say God doesn't know what I'm going through, because his only begotten Son did. And what he's saying is, okay, I'm still with you, and this doesn't have the last word. Easter Sunday morning does. Stay tuned, persevere, have patience. We're going to get through this. He's got us through in the past, as our Jewish neighbors say, this Passover, and they can tell us, and he's going to get us through, just like he did with his own
Cardinal,
son.
it's easy to hear that message on Good Friday.
Yes.
To even see that message on Easter Sunday, because Jesus Christ rises from the dead. But it's hard to live that on a day-to-day basis when you don't remember the significance.
Isn't it? Yes, that's true. That's sort of true of good things in life. We kind of don't remember them when trouble comes. That's why a consistent faith is so important. A lot of people tease me and they'll say, what do you say to all these people who show up on Good Friday and Holy Saturday and Easter Sunday and Christmas, but you never see them again? I'm saying, I'm thrilled they're there. I hope it intrigues them to come back, because there's got to be a daily consistency to our faith. Every day, every moment is dying and rising. Every day of our life is a little combination of Good Friday and Easter Sunday. This just reminds us of that. But if we don't carry that through, that's why, like the Sabbath is so important. That's why daily prayer is so important. That's why plugging into stuff that you guys are doing, like this series on the saints, is so important. It reminds us daily that our faith, our hope, the dying and rising of Jesus is not limited to Good Friday and Easter Sunday. Darn it goes on every moment in our lives.
One of my favorite messages in the Bible, even when I was a little girl, I love the message of when Jesus was on the cross and one of the prisoners next to him says, if you're really the Son of God, you can get down from here.
Yeah.
And the other one defended him and said, we have done so much wrong. We are sinners.
We deserve it.
You don't deserve it, right? And he said, for today, you will be with me
Remember
in
that?
paradise.
You know his name, Dismas. We give him the name St. Dismas. We call him the good thief, the thief who stole heaven. And you got it. Think of what Jesus felt at that terrible moment in his life when everybody was jeering at him, and all of a sudden this crook has got it. And he says, this guy's got salvation. This guy's got a promise here. And he turns to him, you're right, Ainsley. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus says, this day you'll be with me in paradise. You know what Pope Benedict said? If you check the gospel, there's only one guy that called Jesus by his first name. And that was the good thief, St. Dismas. A lot of people said, Jesus, Son of David, Jesus, Messiah, Jesus, Hosanna, Christ Jesus. But this guy is so close to him, is so intimate. He says, Jesus, would you remember me when you come in?
But he kind of represents us,
He
doesn't he?
represents us. If he can get into heaven, you figure so Jesus, by dying on the cross, opened the gates of paradise, we believe. Guess who was the first one through? Our buddy Dismas. All right? That kind of gives us all hope. When I go to prisons, I'm always talking about Dismas.
So about 3 weeks ago, they think they found the exact place where the crucifix was. And when they go back and the archaeologists go through this, they dig things up. How do you, as a cardinal, feel about that? That some things might challenge or reinforce what's in the Bible.
No fear. The truth sets us free, as Jesus said. So I'm thrilled when the archaeologists go in, when the scientists go in, when the historians go in, when they kind of take a scalpel to things and say, let's dig this out and see if it's accurate. More often than not, it is accurate, okay? Every once in a while, they'll find something to say, uh-oh, maybe it didn't happen here, or maybe it didn't happen then. That's okay, because we've got a divine insurance policy that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Are you as curious as anyone? I am as curious as anybody. I love seeing the Shroud of Turin. I love the relics of the true cross. I love the instruments of the Passion, to see them in Rome, the shred of Veronica's veil. Is it essential to the faith? No, but it's good gravy. Okay, the meat and potato of the faith is what God's revealed to us in the Bible and our own natural reasoning. But every once in a while, He'd give us some whipped cream to kind of get us tantalized.
You know, Cardinal, you know what I'm fascinated about? The disciples, and the fact that Jesus knew that one of His disciples was gonna betray Him, and He still ate with Him. Okay, first my question is, how long did Jesus know that the guy was walking with Him and was gonna stab Him in the back? And how does He keep him around? Because as of me, I'm getting the person before they get me.
Yeah.
But He knew His overall purpose.
Yeah. You're right. And look at it. Don't just limit it to Judas. He was kind of the worst.
Right.
How about the head of the apostles,
Right.
Peter? You think of somebody that should know better, Lawrence. And even at the Last Supper, Jesus says to him, before the cock crows 3 times, you will have denied me. And he still did it. Okay? So you got, again, it's like Ainsley said about Dismas. It's almost thinking, if Jesus can make sense out of these 12 lemons, all righty, we've all got a chance. There was only one of them that was with Him at the cross, the youngest, John the Beloved, there with His Blessed Mother and the Magdalene at the foot of the cross. So, darn it, he was only batting 1 out of 12. All right, he wouldn't get in the Mets starting lineup, but with His apostles. But Lawrence, what happened? They all came through at the transformation of the resurrection and Pentecost, like we do. All right.
Yeah.
So Friday is always a hard day.
This is a somber day for us, isn't it?
We know the pain He had to endure for all of us. And if you've seen The Passion of the Christ, which I try to watch at Easter, but it's really hard. You can't watch it without sobbing.
I know.
Because He did it for us. But Sunday is what it's all about.
You got
Probably the holiest day. I mean, Christmas, we wouldn't have, Jesus without Christmas, obviously, with His birth. But this is what our faith is
You're
all
onto
about.
something, Nancy. For us, Easter is the biggie. Jesus was born at Christmas for one reason: to suffer, die, and rise again from the dead. Now, He couldn't have done that if He wasn't incarnate and became one of us, true God and true man. But yeah, Easter's the biggie, and everything points to Easter, which is why we do it every week. Every Sunday is a little Easter. Every Sunday we do it all over again, and the cycle starts again. So that, as Lawrence mentioned earlier, we don't forget. We're renewing that faith every week.
Well, what's your view on the Pope? Do you believe the Pope is going to be able to continue his schedule?
I'm watching it closely. Thanks to you guys to cover it. A lot of people think we Cardinals get daily bulletins. We don't get any more than you guys get. But I'm happy to see, and kind of my admiration for him is intensified, because it's like he can't be held down. And when you think about it, sure, he receives the King and Queen of England. But yesterday he said, "Take me to the prison. I want to see the guys in jail." He just wants to be with the folks. I'm leaving Tuesday, bringing 300 people from the Archdiocese for this holy year of 2025 on pilgrimage to Rome. I'm hoping we get to see him.
J.D. Vance will be there for the service.
Is he? Yeah, I heard that.
He's in Rome
he
right
there
now. He's in Rome.
Okay.
And then he's going to the service.
Good Friday or Easter Sunday
I think
morning
Easter
or what?
Sunday morning.
So what I'm thinking, as you know, the tradition on Easter Sunday, the Holy Father offers Mass in St. Peter's Square for about 250,000 people, and then goes to the balcony. I'm thinking at least he'll go to the balcony, don't you think?
I would think
And
so.
and at least be able to say a few words and give the folks his blessing.
The last time I saw you was the Al Smith dinner,
Uh-huh.
and the whole world was there, just like the gathering outside the window. Your thoughts in retrospect of the impact that dinner had on the election for the Democrat not to show up and put together that terrible tape, which was so insulting to the church, wasn't it?
Well, I like to tease. You know, I said when we got the somber news that the Vice President Kamala Harris didn't accept their invitation, I teased her and said, "Well, the last guy that didn't show up,
Yes.
his name Walter Mondale. He lost 49 out of 50 states." So I tell you this, we're never going to have trouble selling tables for the Al Smith.
Absolutely not. No, it's always
Where did you grow up, and how did you become interested in faith?
I grew up in Baldwin, Missouri, a little
Okay.
town outside of St. Louis. Love it. Okay. And my mom and dad, I mean, they were not uber Catholics, but they were meat and potato Catholics, took their faith seriously. A lot of good Catholic friends in the neighborhood. Wonderful parish with priests and sisters. And it really happened, me watching the parish priest. I said, I wouldn't mind doing
Oh,
that.
And you
do
gave
a
the priest
great
to go.
job.
I hope so.
Yeah, you sound a great family guy too. Got a chance to meet your brother and your family.
You met my brothers and you still invited me back.
All right, Cardinal, thanks so much.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much. God bless you.
A blessed Easter.